Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and let me join you in thanking our witnesses for taking time out of their busy schedules to be with us today. I would just like to say that I was here when Henry Paulson walked in and said, you know, I need $700 billion to keep our economy from going into free fall. I was here when Barack Obama raised his hand and was sworn in, and we were losing 700,000 jobs a month, and our economy was in free fall. I was here when you say that there was no such thing as austerity. I was here for the sequester, the massive cuts in food stamps, and I was here just last week when we just dodged a bullet of having $1 trillion pulled out of healthcare in the United States of America. So I am just scratching my head here, wondering whatever are we talking about. Regarding the dual mandate of the Fed, I am on record opposing eliminating considerations of employment from the dual mandate. And it's an odd notion to think that labor and inflation are not linked. So it strikes me as counterproductive that the Fed should turn a blind eye to employment in its policy consideration. It just doesn't make sense economically for the American people. As for limited authority of the Fed, we made some targeted changes to the Fed in Dodd-Frank, including ending bailouts. I think those were timely and provide additional accountability and stability to the financial system. I also think that expanding representation at the Fed so that it is more authentic and realistic in how it reflects society as a whole is good. But I grow increasingly anxious with the committee's preoccupation with infusing politics into the Fed, constraining the Fed from executing its mission by further limiting its open market activities, adding unworkable formula rules to monetary policy, and restructuring the Fed to give banking interests even more weight on decisions, a decision that would only make policy more myopic and not better. Academic studies inform us that making the Fed look more like America will lead to better economic outcomes. Industry is moving to diversify, and so should the Fed. If anywhere on earth anyone should use economic research, it's the Fed. So I believe that the future of the Fed will look more authentic, more like this vast, diverse country. The Fed will need to normalize its monetary policy in the future, but I applaud the steps the Fed has taken to harmonize its growth policies with early steps that Democrats took to stabilize the economy after the Bush GOP deregulation and induced Great Recession, lack of accountability, lack of just drunken sailor financial activity. And I just don't get it. How do breadlines and austerity serve our constituents? And so I will not be apologetic for my votes for pro-growth policies like the stimulus, which could have been better targeted, but I certainly have no regrets about Dodd-Frank and have worked on a bipartisan basis for tweaks and fixes. I think that the Fed's moves, while unconventional, they've been largely helpful, and certainly more helpful than the GOP austerity agenda. And with that, I would yield back my time, Mr. Chairman.